Hey bookworms, and welcome back to my channel. Today we're visiting a hidden gem in London that every book lover needs to visit, Dr. Johnson's house. This is where Samuel Johnson lived and worked on his magnum opus, the first comprehensive English dictionary. It's one of my favorite under-the-radar bookish attractions in London, so let's check it out together. Dr. Johnson's house is a historic townhouse where the famous writer lived from 1748 to 1759. The house was built in the 17th century, and it was originally part of a larger complex of buildings by Robert Gough. Johnson moved in 1748 with his wife, Teddy. He hated being alone, so after her death, he kept the house filled with people and brought in a live-in servant, Francis Barber, who became his dear friend, the first documented black schoolmaster in England, and Johnson's heir. It was during Johnson's years at Gough Square that he worked on his monumental dictionary, the first comprehensive English dictionary ever published. After Johnson's tenure here ended, the house was used for various purposes, including a lodging house, hotel, and even a printer's workshop. In 1918, it opened to the public as a museum. You'll find it in an unassuming courtyard off of Fleet Street in London. Look for the corner house with the museum signage. The entrance is at a side door of the building, not through the front door. You'll enter right into the museum gift shop, where you can buy your ticket. No need to book ahead of time. After getting your ticket, you'll be free to explore 4 floors of the home at your own pace. As much of Johnson's personal belongings were lost in the years following his death, there's not a lot of his original furniture or belongings, though the pieces you'll see are from the same time period of when he lived here. There's no audio guide, but plaques and informational pages can be found in each room of the museum, offering every detail you could ever want to know about the artwork and furniture, as well as the people who once occupied these rooms. You'll also find quotes from Dr. Johnson throughout the museum, which are always entertaining, as Johnson was famous for his wit. Another fun touch are the dictionary definitions posted around the museum. These are taken right out of Johnson's dictionary and even include the literary quotations that he found for every word. The house itself is a fascinating piece of history to explore, so keep an eye out for quirky touches that were common to old houses of this era. Things like the original grille over the front door, which was installed to prevent thieves from lowering their children into the house through the high window. There's also a number of hidden cabinets throughout the museum that you can take a peek in. Book lovers will especially enjoy checking out the museum library, which more likely than not was actually a bedroom when Samuel Johnson lived here. But you might be horrified to learn about how Dr. Johnson actually treated his books. He was notorious for returning even borrowed books, with writings all over them and even crumbs still stuck inside. Make sure that you don't miss the display cabinet in the corner of the room, which shows one of the museum's 2 copies of the first edition of Johnson's Comprehensive English Dictionary. If you'd like to, you can sign the museum guest log and also try on clothes and wigs from Johnson's time and do your own little 18th century photo shoot. Finally, the real highlight of this museum can be found on the very top floor. This is the Garret. This garret was the primary draw for Johnson when he was selecting a home because it made an ideal office for him and his assistants to work in while tackling the massive project of compiling the English dictionary. In the garret, you can see what may be one of Johnson's only remaining original items of furniture at the museum, his dictionary desk. You can read all about the arguments for and against it being the original, and weigh in by casting your own ballot with quill and ink before you leave this room. You can also flip through replicas of the first edition of Johnson's Dictionary of the English Language. If you'd like, there are slips of paper on the table with suggested words to choose from, so you can get the feel of looking them up for yourself. For anyone interested in language, literature, or history, Dr. Johnson's house in London is absolutely worth a visit. It's often overlooked in favor of some of London's more famous literary museums, but I think it would be a shame to miss out on Dr. Johnson's house if you're a book lover in London. Following the instructions of the museum's founder, Cecil Harmsworth, Dr. Johnson's house doesn't have the feel of a stuffy museum, but of a home. They host regular tea parties, dinner parties, and even gin tastings. Make sure you keep an eye out for their regular special events so that you can attend. The museum is open from Tuesday through Saturday year-round, and no reservation is required, so just show up when it fits into your schedule. Tickets are less than £10 a person, so there's really no reason not to. Note that the museum is in a historic home, so there are lots of stairs and no lift. Something to be aware of if accessibility is a limiting factor for you. Overall, Dr. Johnson's house is a fascinating place to visit and a great way to learn about one of England's most famous writers and wits, and to experience a piece of literary history. It's also a nice option for off-the-beaten-path exploration if you want to break from the London crowds at so many attractions these days. If you want to learn even more about Samuel Johnson and his dictionary, and find out about other literary travel sites for book lovers, make sure you find me at awellreadwanderer.com or just click the link in the video description. Do you want more videos about my favorite sites in London for book lovers? Let me know in the comment section below, and don't forget to like and subscribe. I will see you again soon.